The Johnsons were an affluent family living in the heart of New York City. Mr. Robert Johnson was a successful lawyer, his wife, Laura, a respected art dealer, and their teenage son, Ethan, was a bright student with a passion for sailing. Their lives were the picture of perfection, full of luxury and comfort. However, this weekend, they decided to escape the hustle and bustle of the city and spend some quality time together at their secluded lakeside cottage, nestled near the serene Lake Haven. It was a warm summer afternoon when the Johnsons arrived at their cottage. The lake sparkled under the golden sun, surrounded by lush green trees that swayed gently in the breeze. The cottage was a charming, rustic structure with a cozy porch overlooking the tranquil waters. "Isn't this beautiful?" Laura sighed contentedly, setting down her bags. "Perfect weekend to sail, Dad," Ethan exclaimed, his eyes gleaming with excitement. Robert smiled, patting his son on the back. "We'll head out on the lake tomorrow morning, son. For now, let's settle in and enjoy the evening." The family spent the evening unpacking, grilling dinner, and reminiscing about their previous visits. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, they sat on the porch, watching the stars emerge one by one. The next morning, Robert and Ethan set off to sail, leaving Laura to enjoy some quiet time at the cottage. She sipped her coffee on the porch, flipping through a novel, when she heard a knock at the door. Surprised, as they rarely had visitors, she opened the door to find a polite young man standing there. "Good morning, ma'am," he greeted with a charming smile. "I'm sorry to bother you, but my car broke down nearby and my phone died. May I use your phone to call for help?" Laura, cautious but compassionate, nodded. "Of course. Come in." The young man introduced himself as Michael and stepped inside. Laura handed him the phone, but as soon as he took it, he threw it to the ground, smashing it into pieces. "What? What are you doing?" Laura stammered, a sense of unease creeping in. Michael's demeanor shifted from courteous to unsettlingly cold. "Sorry about that. Sometimes I just get a little carried away." Before Laura could react, another knock came at the door. Michael opened it to reveal a second young man, his friend Eric. The two exchanged a knowing look and walked further into the house, closing the door behind them. "Who are you? What do you want?" Laura demanded, her voice trembling. Michael shrugged, a sinister smile playing on his lips. "We're just here to have some fun." Laura tried to leave, but Eric blocked her path, his expression menacing. Now, no need to be rude," he said mockingly. Time seemed to stretch as Laura's mind raced, trying to think of a way out. She was alone and outnumbered, with no immediate means of calling for help. Several hours later, Robert and Ethan returned from their sailing trip, their spirits high and cheeks flushed from the sun. As they entered the cottage, they were greeted by the tense atmosphere and the sight of Laura sitting rigidly in a chair, flanked by Michael and Eric. "What the hell is going on here?" Robert demanded, stepping forward protectively. Michael stood up, his smile never wavering. "Just a little misunderstanding, Mr. Johnson. We're all friends here, aren't we?" "Get out of my house now," Robert ordered, his voice firm. But the two young men did not move. Instead, Eric chuckled darkly and picked up a kitchen knife, casually twirling it in his hand. "We were just starting to get to know each other. It would be rude to leave so soon." The situation escalated rapidly. Michael and Eric overpowered Robert, tying him up along with Laura and Ethan. The family was forced into the living room, their hands and feet bound, as the intruders began their sick game. The two strangers took turns tormenting the family, their methods becoming increasingly sadistic. They made a point of addressing an unseen audience, breaking the fourth wall with chilling ease. "You see, Brecht believed in the Verfremdungseffekt, or the alienation effect," Michael explained to an imaginary camera. "We want our audience to remain detached, to understand that this is just a performance. But it's also real," Eric added, smiling cruelly. "Very real." As the night wore on, the intruders' methods grew more horrifying. they forced Laura to watch as they beat Robert and taunted Ethan with threats of what they would do to his parents. The psychological torment was just as brutal as the physical abuse. "Let's play a game," Michael suggested, his tone eerily cheerful. "We'll give you a chance to save one of your family members. Choose wisely." Ethan, tears streaming down his face, pleaded for mercy, but his cries were met with laughter. Michael and Eric reveled in the family's suffering, relishing each moment of their twisted game. At one point, Eric turned to the imaginary camera and addressed the audience again. "You know, Brecht would approve of this next part, the ability to rewrite scenes, to alter reality at will." With that, they forced the family to reenact certain moments, each time devising more brutal and inventive tortures. Robert and Laura were made to relive their worst fears, while Ethan was subjected to relentless psychological games. As dawn approached, the family was barely clinging to life. The once cozy cottage was now a chamber of horrors, its walls echoing with screams and sobs. Michael and Eric, their sadistic desires sated, decided it was time to end the performance. "This has been a delightful evening," Michael said, standing over the broken and bleeding family. "But every show must come to an end." With cold precision, they executed each member of the Johnson family, ensuring their deaths were as painful and prolonged as possible. The final moments were a gruesome symphony of agony and despair. When the police finally arrived, alerted by a concerned neighbor who had heard the commotion, they found the cottage eerily silent. The bodies of the Johnson family lay scattered, a testament to the unimaginable horrors they had endured. Michael and Eric were long gone, leaving behind only the memory of their sadistic game. The serene waters of Lake Haven reflected the first light of dawn, belying the dark events that had transpired. The Johnsons' weekend retreat had turned into a nightmare, a tale of unimaginable terror that would haunt the town's memory for years to come.
"I'll never let you go. Never."